Tonight, in his report on the summit, the president spoke about a signed agreement for cultural exchange. And if, as he has suggested, we sent the Beach Boys to Russia, would these Soviet rock stars come here? Bob Brown looks at the sound that has the party jumping. Rock Around the Kremlin, right after this.
Just a little while ago, President Reagan addressed a joint session of Congress to report on his summit meeting with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. He spoke of a new beginning in our relations with the Soviet Union and of a signed agreement for cultural exchange.
This agreement will also expand the opportunities for Americans to experience the Soviet people's rich cultural heritage because their artists and academics will be coming here.
President Reagan earlier this evening. Now, before he left for Geneva, the president suggested that cultural exchange might include our sending the Beach Boys to the Soviet Union. And why not? And perhaps they will send us some of their rock stars. In the past few years, rock musicians have come on strong in the Soviet Union. As Bob Brown reports, they're even getting ready for MTV.
This is a music video made in Moscow, conceptually as far removed from a conventional staged performance as many of the videos made by Western rock artists. The song is called The Old New Year. The idea behind these scenes is to send the past year off to the junkyard. The video has never been broadcast in the Soviet Union, but the fact that it was made by a professional Soviet artist is evidence that for the first time, rock music is no longer just an underground import from the West. The musician who directed the video, Stas Nauman.
Here in Moscow, everything was started by small spontaneous groups during the period of the boom in rock music, with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. We were in high school. Our fathers and mothers didn't understand it. They thought we should be studying, and they treated us like hooligans. Much later, they changed their minds.
This is a rock concert in Moscow by a group called Traffic Jam. Throughout the Soviet Union, rock crowds are large and enthusiastic. Sometimes they're more reserved than Western youth when they approach the artists, and they won't hear any encores. Public performances must end by 11 p.m., and the Soviet militia is present. Natasha Lance, a student at Columbia University's Harriman Institute, also studied in Leningrad and researched the growth of Soviet rock and roll.
As one rock musician said, Victor Sologub, who's with the group Strange Games, said that the youth in the Soviet Union are tired of funeral dirges and classical music. So the government, I think, is positively responding to this demand by creating new opportunities for Soviet youth, for the musicians, not only for the youth to go to concerts, but also for the musicians to perform.
At this store in Moscow, rock has been outselling other types of music. There is one record label in the Soviet Union, Melodia. Artists who make an album will receive between $1,400 and $1,600, regardless of how many copies are sold. Melodia produces only those artists who are members of the State Union of Musicians. They have official status as professionals. And professionals also have access to the best equipment. Andrei Chernyavsky's Moscow apartment is a studio in itself. But many of the most popular Soviet rock artists are amateurs who record with makeshift equipment. They receive distribution not in record stores, but on the black market.
Many of the musicians have their own independent label, as they call it, and they distribute not on vinyl, but on cassettes. The musicians do not get any money for producing the tapes. They don't pay anybody to produce the tapes, and they have complete freedom to produce the kind of music that they want. The people who do get money from it are the black marketeers who resell the tapes to friends.
One of those amateur musicians who lives in Leningrad, a center of Soviet rock, is Boris Grebenshchikov. He holds a regular job and leads a group on his own time. This rehearsal of Grebenshchikov's group, Aquarium, was videotaped by an American in Leningrad. The group may perform in public, but members can't be paid because they don't have professional status. Nevertheless, Grebenshchikov is one of the most popular rock performers in the Soviet Union. Watch his style, and you're reminded of Mick Jagger. His influence has been compared to one of America's best-known artists.
Boris Grebenshchikov is a pioneer for the rock movement, and he is also like an American folk idol, similar to Bob Dylan.
I found out there's no difference between rock and roll and religion. It is the same thing.
What does religion mean to Boris Grebenshchikov?
The same as everybody, I think. I believe in love and everything that goes with it. And the religion is the only one everywhere.
What makes this new breed of Soviet rock and roll different? The obvious reason is that the lyrics are in Russian and they are original, not translations of Western lyrics. Listen to Grebenshchikov.
Отныне время будет течь по прямой, шаг вверх, шаг вбок, их мир за спиной. Я сжег их жизнь, как ворох газет, остался только грязный асфальт. Но рок-н-ролл мертв, а я еще нет.
Traditional Soviet musical patterns can accommodate a rock arrangement, according to Stas Naumann, because of basic similarities. This is an American riff that can be used either as a main theme or background for rock. And this is a Russian one. The rhythmic drive is different, but Naumann says the intonations are similar. This group, called Secret, reflects the wide influence of the Beatles, but in the context of those simple, freewheeling American jam sessions that musicians around the world have drawn from. You may not understand what they're singing, but now you know why they didn't have to understand English to have fun with the music. How outrageous can a group get? Well, this is one of the most popular of all Leningrad groups, Kino. The drummer, nicknamed Africa, is wearing a dress. The group is, as you might guess, one of the unofficial ones. Its leader's name is Victor Tsoi.
We play the music that is most plugged in. There are a lot of good groups, but Kino devotes itself to the problems of fashion, to the problems of the new generation. We're all painters, philosophers, and sociologists, and we follow the evolution of fashion with a great deal of attention.
Kino has been awarded honors at the Leningrad Rock Festival. Such performances are attended by judges who may be a little shocked by what they see.
You know, they are older men. They're Communist Party members, members of the Union of Musicians, and these people are supposed to judge what talent is. Their choice of the bands that were good was accurate. They had pretty much selected the bands that were also selected by the audience.
One professional Soviet group has received wide exposure in the West. The group, called Autograph, played over the worldwide hookup in the Live Aid concert for African famine relief last summer. It's important to note that although some rock groups may still be considered countercultural in the West, most of these Soviet musicians, even the unofficial amateurs, do not consider themselves dissidents.
They exist within the society, they want to cooperate within the society, and they do not want to leave the Soviet Union. They've, on the most part, expressed how they get their creative energy from being within that society.
We do not exist outside of socialism. We are the integral part of it. I mean, we are Russian, and I personally love to live here in Russia, in socialistic Russia. I mean, that's the only place for me.
It's very hard to say what the future will bring, and I think part of the musicians' energy and drive comes from the knowledge that they don't know what will come tomorrow. And so they really enjoy the moment, and they enjoy the opportunities that they have in that moment.